Hello, everyone. Good evening. Welcome back to Amityville Apothecary's Instagram Live. Welcome. Hi, Jen. Just click request to join. Let's see. Yeah. All right. Hi, everybody. Hello, hello.
All right.
Hi.
Hi again.
How's it going?
Oh, it's going good. It's really going good. How are you?
Great. Today was such a beautiful day.
Yes. We're, it's we're getting more and more beautiful days. So fingers crossed, so we can get outside and at least, not be cooped up completely with the rain.
Yeah. I went to for the first time ever, I went to the planting fields arboretum, which is
I've never been there. Where's that?
it's in Oyster Bay, and it's magnificent gardens. So peonies as large as my head, and the most like fragrant lilacs and wisteria.
Wow.
Yeah, really just amazing. So
Wait, I'm gonna write this down. What's the name of it?
planting fields arboretum. Yeah,
Oh.
arboretum. Yeah, it's really beautiful. If anybody lives on Long Island, I recommend it. It's really serene.
All right. Now I know what I'm going to be exploring hopefully this weekend.
Yeah. So, it's one of the less traveled places because facilities are closed, but you could walk the grounds. So I like off the beaten path property. Yeah. Hi, guys.
Perfect. All right. Well, thank you for sharing that.
Absolutely.
That's cool.
Absolutely. I'm seeing a lot of familiar faces joining the live right now.
Yeah. Very cool.
Yeah, it's so fun. Last week, our discussion, somewhere new. Exactly. So last week, our discussion was so fun. We could stay up for like 2 more hours.
I know. And it's so funny, the response, I had, quite a few people reach out, and just send, messages with, just stating, how it moved them and how interesting and how it just brought in this, whole different way of looking at things. And that's what I love. I love, planting those little seeds. And it was wonderful to see. It's just so wonderful to see that we are at the place where we can welcome in this information, where years ago it could have been, and for many, rejected it, but just to see that whole transition is just really, really cool. Yeah.
Hold on one second. Let me turn off the volume on that. Okay. I have it on my computer.
Good.
So that I can also see the comments a little bit easier. So one of the comments, so you have a warehouse on Long Island where I can go look and buy. To the person that just wrote that, we don't have a warehouse. What we're doing is one of our partners that is one of our wholesale suppliers has a warehouse, and we have a wonderful relationship with that warehouse provider. So that person owns the facility, the warehouse facility, and ships everything from, South America, all of his supply. Wow. And he's been gracious enough to allow us to broadcast and do a live sale on Friday from the warehouse. This is the second one that we're doing.
Oh, so in South Africa?
No. On Friday, we're going to be at Harvey's warehouse in Long Island. Yeah. Okay. Dina and I are going to be at the warehouse, and we're going to be broadcasting and doing private sales, as well as in the evening starting at 6 o'clock, we're doing a live sale. But we're doing curated private sales between 12 and 4 for private buyers. And if anybody, on Instagram Live, we're going to be live streaming. Hi, Michelle. We're going to be live streaming, and we're going to be showing all different crystals and specimens. So if somebody wants to see rhodochrosite, or if they want to see malachite, or if they want to see agate plates, we'll show the specimens, and we'll be extending warehouse prices and free shipping. Oh, wow. So yeah, it's really exciting, and it's
rubellite.
Yeah, and it's I'm going to ask about the rubellite. Yeah, So
and emerald I need. Yes.
Emeralds. We have emerald
Yeah.
points at the shop. So
Okay.
we are running a let's see. Okay, because I was buying all my stuff from Hawaii. Oh no, we have a whole store full of crystals. So this is only one of our providers, but we're going to be in the actual warehouse. At our store, definitely check out our online site, which is shop.amityvilleapothecary.com. And we have a full e-commerce website if you don't live nearby. And we're currently offering 15% off and free shipping everywhere if you use Friendly15 as the code. And you can extend that to all of your friends and family. And we're running a promotion, a contest right now on Instagram. So if you tag your friends and all of the rules are on our page, but the winner will be selected for $100 shopping spree at the warehouse sale. And that's going to be announced on Friday at noon. So check out those details and participate. So lots of exciting things. Yeah, but we have a full e-commerce site, so you don't have to ship from Hawaii. So emerald, if you want emerald, we have 4. I don't know if we still have them. We have actually we do. We have top polished points, generator points of emeralds. 2 small size ones and like 4 larger sized ones. I think they're around $44. So I'll see if we have
I have to see, because I'm going to make up that. I have that vision in my head now of what I want. So I might need like an emerald, either points to go like on top of the geometric shape that I'm going to develop. So I don't know if the points will work, but if you're,
yeah, we can talk about this offline. But so this live, so for the sake of this live, thank you all for being here. So tonight's live, we're going to get to it now. Is about past life regressions. Yes. So for anybody that's new, I am Danielle. I'm one of the co-owners of Amityville Apothecary. My business partner is Dina, and we have a whole team of amazing practitioners that we work with. And I will introduce Jen. Jen Post is one of the practitioners that has a wide variety of talents and gifts and services that she does. Last week, she spoke with us about the starlight beings. And this week, tonight, we're going to be talking about past life regression, because a lot of questions came up and said, how does it work? What is it? What are the benefits of it? And we're going to talk about that tonight. And then next Tuesday, Jen's going to come back again, because she channels the archangels and the ascended masters. And
I'll talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, we'll see who comes through for that too. So Jen, you want to do a quick intro?
Yeah, so welcome everybody. I'm excited to be here and to share in this space and to just talk a little bit about past life and exactly what that is and how it can benefit. I am a Reiki master teacher, an interfaith minister, a channeler of, you were saying about the channeling of the archangels and the light language. I'm a Reiki master teacher, so I utilize all of these different tools to assist people along their path of awakening, and past life is certainly one of those things that we can utilize as a tool to assist us in healing and expanding. So I absolutely love offering these teachings and just sharing exactly what it is and how it's going to help. And I'm excited to talk about that here tonight. So thank you for having me on again. I'm so appreciative.
Yeah, it's great. It's great because a lot of people have asked questions, and normally we do these as in-person events at the shop every month or two. Being that we're all in lockdown, we haven't had the opportunity to do that. So tonight is going to be a discussion about how it works. If you guys have any questions, please type those into the comments field, and we'll try to get to as many of those as possible. And then we did book a date that we're going to do a virtual past life regression event. So you can actually go on to shop.amityvilleapothecary.com and type in virtual Jen Post.
Hey.
Oh, I can't even look it up right now because I'm on the the phone is my camera, but it's virtual past life regression, and it's June 2nd, which is a Tuesday evening, and we have an hour and a half dedicated. It's going to be a private paid event, and we're going to provide a link with the access for all of the registered users, and it's recommended to participate in it live rather than like it won't be like recorded and to be done after, because afterward there's sharing of the experience as well. So so we'll talk about that. But if you're interested in experiencing it, Jen's going to facilitate it. I think we're going to use Zoom instead of YouTube for a private event. I think we're going to use Zoom for that. And we will provide the credentials for all registered participants. But that's June 2nd at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time until 9:30. Yeah. So that is live now that you can register for it. So Jen, let's talk about what is past life regression.
All right. Well, past life regression, you know, it goes under many different names. So past life exploration, past life recall, past life journeying. So you might see, you know, different terminology, but it's really where it's a psychotherapy technique where we help you to regress into past life memories that are stored within your subconscious mind. So this is going to be really interesting for, you know, people who never experienced it before, who have questioned, you know, did I have a past life? You know, how is it affecting me now? Did I have a relationship with somebody in a past life? You know, I find usually people are very open to these sort of things and will already have had some type of inkling of a past life memory before they actually go and do a past life regression or past life recall. So yeah, so it's a lot of fun for sure.
Great. I love that. And so I just pasted under New Danny 2015 in the comments. It's called Virtual Past Life Regression with Reverend Jen Beldy Post. Okay, so that's the title of it on our Shop Amityville Apothecary page. Yeah, exactly. So that's really easy. And
yeah, multi-talented right now.
I know, that's why I was looking down. I wasn't trying to be rude.
Oh, no, that's okay. I stare off a lot when I talk too, so no worries.
Gina brought up a really good question that we can start with, and you can answer, and then I can also chime in, but I'm sure you're going to do a great job.
Sure.
And
absolutely.
She said, what's the difference between a past life regression and the Akashic records?
Well, the Akashic records is they're kind of similar but different, you know. That's a really good question. The Akashic records is, you know, database that is stored of every thought and deed and action, but it's always expanding and growing and changing, where your past life is it happened and it occurred. So that's really like the distinct difference between the two. I find things have like a nice gray blending, you know, thing about it, but that's really the distinction is, you know, when you go into the Akashic, you have the opportunity to shift things that's coming, you know, in your future, where the past life, obviously it's in the past.
Right.
And one of the reasons why, you know, we go into the past is so we can heal the present, which therefore will actually change some of the things like in the Akashic realm, because you're now healing the future aspect of yourself. And like your records are always changing and evolving as you are, where right. The past life is, you know, it already occurred. So yeah.
So the way that it was explained to me and the way that I think about it is the Akashic records is the universal, if you think about it as like the Universal Library of Congress.
Yeah.
So
it's everything. Yeah.
It is the place of where all records, the Akashic records,
Which means sky.
which means the sky. So the
Yeah.
Akasha is like the sky, the particles of the universe, and the record. So it's like the Library of Congress for the universe, for all beings, all lifetimes, time continuum, infinity, and
beyond.
Yeah, and each person, and it's so funny because this is the infinity symbol is the interwoven symbol of the network of energy of the universe.
Absolutely.
So
beautiful.
You know, when you do a repair of the astral matrix, you're doing the figure 8 symbol because it's the infinity symbol. It's time continuum.
Absolutely.
So each soul lives on and on and on. We are all energy.
Infinite.
Yeah, infinite. Exactly. So there's a younger soul and an older soul. So like when you come back in a lifetime, you can live one lifetime, and now we're going to get into like reincarnation and things.
Yeah, and I'm going to touch on that. Yeah.
Yeah. So when you incarnate here, when you're born into this life, you have a soul contract that you come in with certain things that your goal is to learn and to achieve and to grow and to accomplish soul growth. So all of those records of your life are stored within the Akashic records. And when you pass away, all of the history is like imprinted into the Akashic records. And they say, okay, we're going to keep track of everything that you experienced as you're experiencing it. And then we're going to tie it up with a pretty bow before we separate your soul from your physical body. So like you're going to die, and then there's a period of like just wrapping up the loose ends. And then your soul continues up to the heavens, and your physical body goes back into the earth.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
Past Life Regression taps into like your memory. So it's almost like a database where you tap into like what happened during and where your psyche plugs into remembering a past memory. Yeah. Almost as if you're remembering like a young memory as a child, but the hypnosis techniques bring you back to remembering a past lifetime.
Yeah, so that's exactly what it is. It's, you know, when we do it through meditation, we do an introduction, we move back into, you know, relaxation techniques to quiet the mind. Mm-hmm. You know, this way you can get into that alpha wave where your body is fully relaxed, where you can just let go and then travel. So a lot of what, you know, you were talking about, you know, why we do these techniques is, you know, when we come here and reincarnate, and we can have thousands and thousands of, you know, lifetimes and reincarnation, and they can be where, I'm just going to answer this because it's popping up.
Yeah.
We're gonna do this in a group, even though, I mean, I do individual sessions, of course, but I always tell people, if you've never done past life regression before, to do it in a group, because when you connect in that one space and your consciousness and your energies are all joined in, and when we do Zoom, that will help us to be in that unified field of consciousness. It'll help assist people who've never traveled before. Mm-hmm. So what the general format is of, yes, you can also do regression with crystals. I'll talk about that in a second. The general format is to guide you through a really nice meditation to calm your breathing down, to relax the mind, relax the body. And then we bring back points of interest and memories, happy ones, in this lifetime. Because, you know, as we go through our life, you know, our memories fade, you know, from our childhood. So it takes a while to quiet the mind and do that recall. And past life regression is the same exact idea, but the format is to get you nice and relaxed so you will let go. There's a lot of, you know, there's a lot of things that happen when people go to do past life regression. They worry that they're not going to receive anything, or what if they see something that's scary? You know, the mind tries to take over. But essentially what happens is you get to that place where you can enter that alpha state where the brain waves are very calm, like when you do meditation. And I will instruct you through various points of moving back in time. And you know, there is that time in between, like you were mentioning about reincarnating. You know, there are many times when people in past life regression or past life recall will go and have multiple experiences in a flash of different lifetimes. And, you know, as we go through, you know, we do reincarnate, like you were saying, to help us learn our lessons, to heal the traumas from our past, to really come to a place of unity, one heart consciousness. This is that, you know, that place of enlightenment, that place where we're back together with source. And we will reincarnate to heal these things so we can eventually get to that place where we are all, and we are part of the Akasha, we're part of that infinite source connection. So yeah, so it is a really wonderful tool to get into that place where these stored memories of your lifetimes are, you're able to access them, you know. So I see a couple questions coming up.
Yeah, there are a few questions. I'll just first share before I get into the questions, because they're very good questions. I will read them and ask them.
Okay.
From somebody that has experienced it for the first time, like my Reiki master up in New Hampshire is also, she has her master's in hypnotherapy and specializes in this as well. So that was my first experience. And, you know, similar to how you conduct it in person is we sit around in a circle, or sometimes we'll lie down, we'll have a blanket, because when you go into that meditative state, your body temperature sometimes drops. You should have a pillow so that you're just completely comfortable and relaxed. And then you're encouraged to close your eyes. The room should be like darkly lit. You could have some candles, just very calm. And then Jen would guide through it, a meditation, like a guided meditation. It's almost like you're in a meditative state that you hear her guiding you, and your mind just goes along with it. So you can wake up. Yeah, you can wake up and come out of it, but it's just a very calm thing. And then the way that your brain is in such a relaxed state, it just brings up memories as it goes. And then she'll guide you backwards in time, and your brain will latch onto certain memories. And then once you go into the past, it'll latch onto like certain lifetime memories. And then you'll say like, oh, and now you look at your hand. And now you look at your clothing. What are you wearing? You're having a meal. What are you eating? What are you experiencing? Look around you, your settings. And it's different for everyone. So you're having an individual experience as Jen guides the group, because it's all your psyche and your memory. So it's a calm, controlled state and an experience. And somebody had asked, is it possible that you won't experience anything?
Well, yeah, I mean, it is, you know, it is a very calm state. Your body is at that place where you can let go and do that recall when, like you mentioned, you know, walking them through that guided visualization, that guided meditation, and then taking you further back. We go from different points in this lifetime to the womb, where there's much formation, and then we take you out past the womb where your energy, and this is the place in between lives where you know, can replenish and heal, and you can think about the lessons you're figuring out if you're going to reincarnate again. But this is the place of forming and great peace. And then therefore I will take you back and lead you to a time period where your feet are on the ground. And like you said, we start looking at your clothes and you start seeing your hands. You know, maybe you were a man or, you know, a child in this lifetime, and look at your surroundings to see what time period. A lot of people, you know, go to places here in this current lifetime. You know, maybe they go to, you know, Mexico or something, and they have past life memories start to stir up of them having a lifetime there.
Yeah.
I found that many people will gravitate towards a certain time period, a certain geographic location. Like I love England and Scotland. I've, you know, have certain memories of these places, and doing the past life regression has gotten me into a place where I can explore that. So it's so wonderful, because a lot of times when we do these past life regressions, we bring in people that you might be currently having an experience with in this lifetime.
Yeah.
You know, maybe you'll see, like, your grandfather is, you know, your brother in this lifetime.
Yeah.
It's really, you know, limitless to what you can experience.
Yeah.
And you can absolutely, oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, that's okay. Martha, I hear your question and I see that there's a support for it. So we'll get to that. And I know that you repasted it. So we will get to that. Let's just finish this thought and then we'll talk about it.
Okay. So a lot of people, you know, when they go in, I always explain to them, your mind's gonna, you know, you're gonna see something and you're gonna think it's your imagination. This is a place where, you know, I always want you to just let go and not let, you know, don't bring in the left brain and try to analyze everything.
Well, this is her question exactly. How do I know if my memories are accurate and not just my imagination? So there you go. Yeah. We just naturally.
So that is a very big fear that people have, that they'll see something and be like, oh, you know, I am totally making this up. You know, past life regression is for you to bypass, you know, the linear mind and to just get into that space. So even after we're done, I have a set of questions that, you know, what time period did you go? What did you see? Right. You know, what did your clothing, you know, look like? Any bit of information, even as silly as you think it is, or if you're making it up, I always ask you to write it down, because there are times you will see something. Maybe you just watched a movie and in your regression, that movie pops up. Now that means there's something within that movie. Maybe it's a certain place, you know, where that movie was, you know, about, you know, there's always these hidden messages. So we never want to just discredit anything. And again, that's the left brain the mental body trying to really hold on to not letting go.
Right.
So those are all valid questions.
There's okay, so the validation is, haha, I was thinking that about the movie. So there's a validation right there. Totally.
Absolutely.
So I have an experience that's related that I wanted to share, but this also ties into it. So I'll read the question and then just share the experience that I had. The question or statement is, so if you meet someone for the first time and connect immediately, is it possible you were connected in a past life?
100%.
Absolutely.
Many times we have multiple lifetimes. You know, my husband is my twin flame. I have had many lifetimes with him, and through our relationship, there have been, you know, many different lifetimes coming up, so we can heal that. Whatever transpired between us in that lifetime will be brought up to heal. So children, parents, you know, our loved ones, and even those people that we have not the best relationships with as well. Those are our biggest karmic lessons to heal. So many times you will have people that you've had not the best relationship or troubles in this lifetime, and it is as a result of something that you have done or experienced with them in a past life. And this is
Right.
why past life regressions are so healing, because you can heal that karma, you can heal that relationship, so you don't take that on in another form in a lifetime, like they
Right.
follow you around.
Right. Well, one time I had a really intense and vivid past life regression, and it was to Ireland, and it was in the late 1800s, and I was a male farmer, and I was guided to look at my hand, and it was big as a mitt, and it was earthen, and a laborer's, cracked. It was a farmer's hand, and I was like a big Irish farmer, and I looked around the farm, and I knew that I was home. And then I was guided inside, and I was served a loving stew in front of the fireplace by my wife. And I looked, and it was a former boyfriend of mine. The energy, the eyes and the energy.
Yeah.
Oh my God, like it's my wife. I looked across the table, and it was actually a young daughter was looking across the table at me, but it was the energy of my son, my current son today in this lifetime.
Yeah.
It was him. And my daughter was actually my teenage son in that lifetime that showed up later in the regression. And the same energy. And I was like, whoa. So like it was really beautiful when I came out of it, because we did the exercise where we wrote everything down. Now, during that experience, I was in a group setting, and my friend Steve and his wife were there. It was the first time they ever did it, and they were sharing, and they were sheep herders. But the thing is, he started sharing, and then she goes, well, I was a sheep herder.
I saw that too.
And they had the same experience, and they were son and father in that lifetime. They described the wooden bowl and spoon and the meal they ate it was so crazy. So,
wild.
And then
I've had that with my daughter, where we both went back to like prairie times, and we were in a beautiful field, and she actually had a past life memory coming back of an animal, that she was a horse.
Who, your daughter?
My daughter. And she's an equestrian, rider, so that is another thing too, that you can go back to a time where you were an animal, and having that experience. When you do the past life, you can view it like a movie. And when I guide you in, it's like when you go to a movie screen, you are just watching. You might feel the emotion, but you're not going to feel any pain. You're not gonna, be tapped in to that level, and you're always in control. So for those of you I saw in the earlier feed, were stating that they were a little nervous, you are never in a place where you can simply just open your eyes. You will not be in such an altered state that you won't have any control over what you're seeing or saying or experiencing, and not coming out of that. It's like meditate. It's a very deep meditation where you're super relaxed.
Now, there's a book that is written by Dr. Brian Weiss. It's called Many Lives, Many Masters.
Yeah.
And
I've worked with him. Yeah.
You have. He's amazing. And I recommend the book for anybody that's interested in this topic, because he is a psychotherapist, and one of his patients came in, and she had all of these phobias and fears and troubles. And he would put her into a hypnotic state as part of his treatment. And she started experiencing past life memories that were coming up.
That you wouldn't even know that you would.
Yeah, she had
no way of knowing that information, She
had no idea. She had no knowledge, but what happened is there was healing that started occurring as he was asking questions, as she was in that regressed state. And then with that, from healing past traumas, there was healing in this life, and her phobias wound up resolving. It's really, really fascinating. So he's known as one of the forefront people in bringing.
And he, because he was a therapist, he had that therapist mind where, it's interesting, the story, because you can see where he's now, his world was being rocked a little bit, because it was pushing him past what his teachings were.
Yeah.
you know, and then I won't give away, I won't be the ending result, but it is a really great way. You know, we have phobias such as I drowned in a past life. So it is also said, you know, at the time maybe you had experienced something in a past life that the current age that you're in right now will activate that. And I had that experience with, you know, a drowning, and I was always a water person, you know, a little fearful, but at a certain age, it just being in the water one day, I had this intense anxiety come over me. And I remember after a few days having memories come and surface of drowning. And then I was able to heal that lifetime so I can go back into the water. But people will have random phobias that maybe don't have any sound reason for them to have a phobia. And this is because maybe you experienced this in a past life. And this is why another factor, you know, where past life regression is so, it's used as a tool to help heal, release blockages. Let's just say you have had a pain where you've lost a husband or a wife in a past life, and this lifetime you're afraid to open your heart, and you don't understand why.
I experienced that with one that you led, Jen, at the shop, and I regressed, and I was a warrior, an Indian fierce warrior, but I killed a lot of people, but like I watched the love of my life be killed in front of me, and then I just went on a rampage. But in that regression, it was a very healing moment because I was able to make amends in that lifetime. And it was so beautiful and healing and therapeutic for me. I remember crying.
Yeah, I remember that.
I was sobbing. I was like, oh my God.
But that's a beautiful thing because you're releasing that energetic blockage. And, you know, think about even the Akashic, right? It's always evolving. And now you can bring in, you know, a love that is, you know, vibrating at that frequency that you desire, you know, so.
And it's time infinite. So
exactly.
You know, if you heal something in the past, you're healing it for time continuum. And also I believe that if you don't resolve something in a life incarnation, you will come back if you are. So
over and over again.
My mother and I have that contentious relationship. She was that contrasting force. So definitely we have soul contract. She's a significant soul contract of mine in this lifetime. But when you guided me and I went back to Egypt, she was present, and it was that same energy and that same force, and it was the same contrast. And this lifetime, there's been a lot of work and a lot of healing, but a lot of early childhood, you know, it was a lot of that same energy.
Oh, gosh. And think about now, if you reincarnate again, your relationship can have a whole different, you know, bond, and a just whole different relationship within itself, you know.
It's been healing.
Because you're doing the healing work. So I mean, it's fun, you know, people do it to explore and just to tap in. And really what happens is, you know, the first time that you go to do it, you know, you're going to be nervous. You're going to think, oh, well, what if I don't see anything, or I'm not doing this right? I had those same very fears myself, and I would only see like a little bit each time. But then I tell people, even in the class that we do, that you can have a dream within a coming of days. You can see something, a movie, or somebody will say something to you, and it will spark that click within you, and you'll start to put together the pieces. So that's why I always say, no matter how big or small of an image, a thought, a feeling, if you just think it's so random, you know, you want to write it down, because eventually the more you do your inner work, it's all going to start to come together, and you're going to really build the piece of the puzzles of what you did in a past life, how it's influencing you, who in your current relationships. My son, you'll hear me sometimes refer to him as my husband. I'll go, oh, my husband's son, because I know he and I he was my husband in a past life.
Wow.
So that's another thing too. Like you can, when you really get to connected to this aspect of yourself, you might see the people that you are in and just say something. You might say their name.
Right.
And, where you normally would write it off,
Right.
now because your awareness level is different, you can utilize, and that'll be another piece of the puzzle. But it
Well,
is totally normal.
it's
It's
so
totally
interesting
normal.
because my daughter Haley, when she was little, she was like 3, and she point blank informed us that she chose us as her family. That she remembers looking down before she was born and deciding that she was going to choose us as her family. And she was very matter of fact for a 3-year-old to be stating this. So during my Reiki Master training, we did a lot of pendulum work. And I actually used the pendulum to ask how many shared past lifetimes we shared together. And it exceeded 50 lifetimes that Haley, and she and I have a really strong, beautiful relationship, even though she's a teenage girl. But it's a strong old relationship. I used pendulum work for my ex-husband, and that was like 4 lifetimes.
Yeah.
So yes, there's certain people that will be your core group, but then there's some new ones that might come in.
And there's that infinite. Yeah.
Right.
There's that infinite, space. Absolutely.
Yeah. So, and what's so interesting that I forgot to mention is I went over to Ireland for my cousin's wedding, and they live in County Mayo. And when I arrived there, I felt like I was home.
Yep. That's a beautiful thing. Yeah. That's a beautiful thing. And, I had that experience I could just share the story so people understand. I went to Montana for my brother's wedding like 10 years ago, and walking through the mountains on horseback, it felt familiar. I was like, I have been here before. And it was so interesting because there was a river that went down we were in a ranch, and there was this beautiful river that went down. I would say 9 years later, a couple of years ago, I was sitting in the bath. I was really relaxed, and a Native American came forward. And I never heard of this. I forget, it was like Red Cloud. Lo and behold, Red Cloud was connected to that very river that I was on in Montana. Wow. So that's what I'm saying. Like 10 years, I finally, and my husband was there. So now I understood like our Native American, like we love Native American stuff.
Wow.
So I know I had a Native American, past life. My daughter was part of that. And, now my husband, we bring in that energy and that connection. And we had that beautiful experience in the tub, and it came full circle. So that's where you never know. It can be, 10 years down the line where that loop, right? That loop of a puzzle is solved, So,
and that's places, that's relationships. That's when you meet someone and you're like, I know this energy.
Absolutely.
I have been with people in my life where at first glance, it's that sense of familiarity that
either you love them or you don't, right? It goes both ways.
Exactly.
Like, I don't know why I don't.
But it's energy. I was like, I know it's that soul recognition.
Absolutely.
And it's really fascinating. So if you get that inkling that you're like, gee, why am I feel like I was like in the Elizabethan era, or I was really drawn to, you probably had a past life then. Like
I would say 10 out of 10 that you're bringing up that, because your soul has memories of all your lifetimes. So, you can watch a movie and warms your heart, or you can see something, like me and my husband, I know we served in wars together, and he's a social studies teacher. He loves wars. I've always, felt gravitated. We really, really connected, me and my mom, so I feel that, I've actually had, through just meditation. Now, this is a great thing. When you start doing past life regressions, it helps to open the door. Some people have a full-on experience, in the beginning, but more often than not, you don't. You get little drips and drabs, and that's okay. It's starting to, like a memory is fuzzy, it's gray. You might not remember all of the details, but the more you start thinking about it, the more it becomes more vivid. It's the same process with past life regression. At first, you might not have a full-blown experience, but as time goes on, you will. And then you'll have it just instantaneously. You'll have it while you're sleeping. I have had great healings. Like before I became, I think it was my Reiki master, I actually saw a past life where it was Japanese and Korea. And I don't know nothing about wars, like, who fought who. Yeah. And I was shot in the heart. So I come running into the bathroom, and my husband's my phone a friend because he's like a social studies teacher and knows everything. And I said, did they fight together? And, he goes, oh yeah, in this time period. And he goes, how come you never see, like, well, I mean, you can see really cool things, but a lot of times you will go to the point where you need that healing.
Right.
So he was like, how come you see these things more so than, just regular lifetimes? And I said, well, if you look at it from a healing perspective and what we're here to do, you're going to see these lifetimes so you can heal it.
Right.
And I was able to open up my heart more, before I became Reiki attuned.
Yeah.
And so it's so layered.
Yeah.
But the point is that if you're a newbie, you'll get little bits and pieces of information. The more you do it, you will go right into it. You'll have memories come up in dreams.
Yeah.
A lot of people just write off our dreams as just, I used to have a dream of tidal waves, like always tidal waves. Now I understand, through even just meditation, like opening up those parts and those memories, within your mind. The more you do this, you'll have that instantaneous or sporadic, memory come up in dream state or in meditation. And then that's another piece to your puzzle.
Yeah. Definitely. So one of our visitors just said when they were younger, they were infatuated with Egypt and Cleopatra. And I think Egypt is a period of time. Like I had an experience in Egypt. Yeah. And when I came out, I identified the pharaoh that I was charged with serving. And like, I found it in the history books. It was really wild. But like Egypt in particular is highly influential when it comes to spirituality. So I think that those tend to be really intense in terms of like connection and recall. Do you agree with that?
I do. And there's, the Emerald Tablet, that's connected to Thoth and Egypt and, the development of, and, the records, the Hall of Records, with Egypt too. But I do find that there are, many people who, like Christ, walked with Christ, was in that time period. I find that a lot of people are awakening to those experiences, and Egypt is one of them. And Egypt's, there's all that information on how did even, the pyramids been, built, and, were they extraterrestrials, where did they get the help with, all that kind of stuff. So,
it's also thought that sometimes if people have a birthmark, or if there's a scar or like a pain point that's kind of inexplicable, that may be reflective of like an injury or a death from the past.
Absolutely. 100%. Yeah. So that's always like really an interesting fact too. When you look at birthmarks in different places along the body, that's an indication. Yeah. Like you said, like you've had an injury in that past life. I know when I do, energy work with sessions and stuff like that with people, when I work on their body, I will actually see some of the past life energy within the organ or in certain areas of the body. And when I go into channel in the sessions, it helps to release those. So this is where I utilize, you know, my past life experience and the modalities and, you know, the abilities that I have to help release that
Yeah.
pain. I had a woman that I was doing a healing session on that had asthma, and she would go to the doctors and they will always, you know, say to her, you have, you know, you don't have asthma. They would try to label her as asthma and give her all this medicine. And we wound up, I was working on her lungs, and she was in Pompeii. And I saw the vision of her in Pompeii and being suffocated. Now, and, you know, and there's no reason for her, you know, to have this asthma. I've seen people completely healed of asthma or other ailments just by going in and seeing where that energy is. So, I mean, that's a whole other level, but it ties in to past life experiences and how it's affecting you mentally, physically, emotionally, you know, so you can really utilize, you know, doing this to help open that door.
Yeah, with fears. And, you know, Valerie's saying I have a random rash that always swells up in my arm. The doctors can't figure it out. Been trying to.
There you go.
And, you know, I have a blemish that comes up. It's like definitely stress induced, but it's always been at the same point.
Yep.
And Charlotte, who's one of our mediums in the shop, she goes, "Oh, I think that was a musket. Like that was a bullet from a musket in a." And I go, "What?" She's like, "Oh yeah, that point. That's like, well, maybe
it's wild.
It's at one spot, you know.
It's really, you know, because trauma. You know, think about what you experience in this lifetime. You know, like if you fall and you get hurt, and, you know, therefore, you know, you can't use that part of your body where you're always in constant pain, or if you have suffered a loss. And just think about how it influences your current life, you know. So past life is just the same, you know, it's the same idea. It's just the people don't think outside of, you know, this time and space, you know. So this is where it is a wonderful tool to just open up about your soul's knowledge and your soul's history, you know, just like the Akashic, you know, it's just infinite. And there are people, you know, like I feel for myself that I have contracted to come down here to assist in helping people heal and helping mankind through everything that's this, you know, this transition, you know. So we've been here many, many times. You know, we've done the majority of our soul work. You know, we still have some lessons, you know, that we're clearing, but there are also more evolved souls, if you want to put it that way, that decided to come down and help people through all of this process. So that's a whole other aspect too, you know, of past life. And usually those souls, you know, will know and have an inkling of that they've done this before and what they're here, what their purpose is. And that's another thing, that past life, it can help you change even your trajectory of where your path goes.
Well, I think also that's where astrology ties in, and we only have 7 minutes left. I can't believe how quickly.
Really? Okay.
I can't even believe. But what
let me just make a note. 7 is the number of truth. So
that's true.
That's tying into all of this, what we're talking about with, you know, past life regression. And go ahead about the numerology. I love that.
Yeah. Well, astrology.
Yeah,
astrology, the North Node and the South Node. So the South Node reflects the gifts that you come into this lifetime with.
Yes.
And that is a culmination of all of the skills and experience from past lives. And then your North Node is what you ought to develop and destined to develop. So in past lives, for me, my South Node was, you know, a big part of my mission in this lifetime is to shed the material things of, you know, of wealth accumulation and independent, personal, individual acceleration, and instead to work collaboratively with groups and to facilitate healing and education and like everything that I'm doing in my mission. Now now I left a corporate career. In the past life, that was my lifetime's North Node. But then coming into this life, the beginning part of my life was really focused on that. But then I shed all of that as I transitioned. So you could see like that was last lifetime. We're moving on to this lifetime. It's like shed all the material gain and focus on like educating and being part of the broader good for the collective. And that's exactly what happened to me. And I had no idea what was going on. Everybody was like, are you having a nervous breakdown? I'm like, I'm being called to do this.
Looks. Yeah.
Because
you're doing such a shift in awareness that for many people, they do. And you might even feel that too, because you're just like, what is happening? Who I was is not who I'm becoming and where I'm going. And that's a beautiful thing to transcend that past life, lesson that you're doing now. So that's really, really cool.
It's really cool. So I'm going to plug, definitely register for the Past Life Regression. Jen is going to facilitate it. It's an intimate group setting. Now, like, it's not a scary thing, and it's a really great way to experience it, and to have Jen moderate it. And then afterward, when we come out, we all share experiences of answering questions of what you may have experienced, and Jen will facilitate all of that. So again, on shop@AmityvilleApothecary.com, it's virtual Past Life Regression with Reverend Jen Beldy Post. And then people are saying how you want to know what your life's mission is. Fairly is one of our practitioners. She's our resident astrologer, and she does have astrology consultations that you could also virtually book. It's $125 for a consultation. She'll analyze your astrology chart, and you can book that privately. It's really fascinating.
It's highly recommended. Everything is, collectively helps you to formulate who you are, and it's a blueprint. It's like a navigational tool. So astrology, numerology, like all that stuff.
All of it. It's multi-layered, and it all is interwoven.
And the past life is just another aspect of it. So it's really very, very cool. I know too, because I think somebody was asking, I know we only have a couple of minutes left. It's really cool to do a journey, like a group journey, because a lot of times people will actually see, because we're connected collectively, they will actually see what other people are seeing too, and they and we'll get like little glimpses because we're in that collective space. So I will also too, in the live Zoom, I go into that channel with you, so I will lead you through, but I'm also in that space. I'm having my own past life recall as I'm also guiding you guys, and then I'm also seeing some of the things that you are seeing. So I will psychically connect to what the collective group is experiencing. So that's always a little fun aspect at the end that we will share. Yeah,
it's really cool. It's a really cool experience, and I highly recommend it. And Jen, you do a beautiful job facilitating it. And then with your added gifts of the channeling and being able to sense the spirit guides and the ascended masters that come through, and be able to provide that space and support. It's just a really beautiful, awesome experience. And very healing. And
and that's what we're here to do, to heal and be free of our past, so we can expand and just be limitless, So,
thank you. Thank you so much. I hate when it cuts off abruptly, so I don't want to, usually I'm like mid-sentence, like,
I hear you. So I understand. So thank you very much. I adore
you, and thank you so much. Everyone, thank you for joining us. This will be saved on IGTV, and then we upload it to YouTube as well. So if you want to watch it again, and register for the site. And if there's any questions, let us know at the Apothecary, okay?
And I will see all of you too next Tuesday. We'll talk about the archangels and the messages that are coming through. Whoever is joining us on that day, it will be a collective energy. So you guys will be pulling in those frequencies, and then we'll go into meditation channeling, and it'll be great.
I can't wait. It's always a beautiful experience. Thank you so much.
All right. Namaste, everybody. Thank you again. Have a beautiful night. Stay safe.
Love you. Bye, guys.
Love you too. Bye.